And I'm back and in the kitchen and raring to go and so happy to be here with you today. I am making chicken soup and turning it into chicken stock and bone broth so we can take it, freeze it for the winter, and take out quarts at a time as we need it. I freeze just the broth, and then what happens is if someone gets sick or I need to make, or just in the mood for the soup, I will just take out a quart or two of the stock and put in a little bit of extra meat, put in some vegetables, put in a few things, and then I have fresh made, homemade chicken soup. So also, anybody that wants to book a cooking confidence, hey Frank, a cooking confidence call, just a warm up just to see exactly what a coaching class would be like, you'll find the link right below this video. You can click on it and come see me. So anyway, here we go. So I am going to talk to you first about cleaning the vegetables. So in this chicken stock, or chicken soup, and I do want to show you this. So first comes a hammer. We're going to talk about this in just a minute. I'm going to put this right here. Second comes food grade hydrogen peroxide that you get on Amazon. You can find it in Game Changers on nannybubby.com, and just scroll down, you'll find the food grade hydrogen peroxide that you can order. It's diluted 6 to 1, 3 to 1, diluted 3 to 1. And what I have done first though is I have taken, I hope everyone had a happy Halloween as well. Hey Heather, okay, everybody's finding us and coming on. But the first thing I do is I always clean the vegetables. So in this big bowl right here, which I love so very much, let me just show this to you. There we go. So in here are the vegetables, very clean with nice cold water. And in there, each of these vegetables were sprayed. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my hands to make sure that everything was cleaned off. So hold on, let me grab just a vegetable brush here. And just make sure that here's a turnip. So we're going to scrub that turnip just a little bit. And just scrub off the outer layers from anybody that may have touched it, decided they didn't want it from the grocery store, or if it by chance had fallen, there we are, fallen on the store. Hey, Tony Lumley. Hello from New York City. Hey, Marty Greenwood. Oh my gosh, everybody's finding us. So happy to have everybody here today on a Monday making chicken soup. Okay, so we're just going to give it a brush, and I'm going to start draining off all of this water, because now that we have sprayed everything with food grade hydrogen peroxide to make sure that we get all the hands off, you know, all the little bacteria from all the hands that touch at the grocery store, or, you know, some things drop on the floor at the grocery store. You just never know where it's been in between the time it gets picked and the time that you have it. And we're just going to use the brush, just go over the outside. Now, I never peel my carrots because I love whatever vitamins will be on the skin. I just think it's great to put in chicken soup. You know, we always call chicken soup Jewish penicillin. I love that. I love that statement, as you know. So we're doing that, making sure all the vitamins from all these. Now, I use nothing but organic vegetables in the chicken soup, because really, food is our medicine, and medicine is our food. So we want to make sure that if we're using it, because it feels so warm and wonderful and fantastic when we get sick, to, of course, have chicken soup, you want to make sure that it's made with the very best and the very healthiest ingredients. My favorite thing to do is actually, when my sister gets sick in the winter, which she has a tendency to do, is to bring her chicken soup. I just will freeze quarts of it, and then off and away we go. So I'll bring her just the plain broth, or I'll doctor it up with some chicken and the vegetables. But everybody kind of likes their chicken soup differently. So here, let me just give all this a rinse. So I tend to just kind of bring the broth and say, hey, doctor it as you wish. Sometimes it just feels so good on a sore throat to just drink down hot chicken broth. It just feels so good, better than tea, I think. just a few minutes and we get to putting all this in. But first I'm going to bring you into my little heartfelt tricks in terms of how I make, I think, some of the best chicken stock and bone broth. So I do a combination of bone broth, chicken stock, and chicken soup, and what makes the difference is how long it actually cooks. And so if I have a little bit of it tonight with our dinner, it's definitely going to be chicken soup because it will only cook for about 3 or 4 hours. But I'm going to let it keep cooking, and I always make my chicken soup on the night or day before the garbage man comes, because you really need to get rid of all those bones and all those, you can't put chicken bones in a compost container. So I always make sure that I either make my chicken soup on a Monday or on a Thursday so that I can get everything right into the garbage. Okay. So no need to actually dry any of this. We'll let the dill just kind of, just get, it's okay if it's wet. It's not like we're going to be chopping it or anything. Just everything is soaked and it's clean and all the hand bacteria is gone. So, okay. Somehow I got this soaking wet, but anyway, that's besides the point. I'm not sure how all that happened. So, the first thing we're going to do is I am going to open up, and I will tell you that as I open up the container, not necessarily the container, but the bag that the full chickens are in. So, I don't know if you can see this pot. This pot again. Hey, Bubby. Nice to see you. I'm not going to add noodles. Hey, Lene, let's see, who did I miss when I was busy? Teresa is here, Frank is here, Lene is here, Bobby Robbins is here, my sister is here. I was just going to tell Marty's here, Tony's here, Heather is here. So my sister, this is her pot. I've never given it back to her any more than I've given her back her burner, her remote burner that I love so much. Look at the size of that pot. Yes, it's ginormous. It's 22 quarts. Honestly, I pull this out every Thanksgiving because it really does look like a witch's cauldron, doesn't it? Look how big this puppy is. It's huge. It's bigger than I am, I think. Look at that. There we go. Look at that. It's 22 quarts. I have filled it about 2/3 full, and honestly, and poor Tom is going to have to lift it when we're done with the show and put it over onto the stove, and I'm not even sure how to tell him to do that. But nonetheless, let me pull out, I'm going to pull out the, oh my gosh, the chicken, okay? And I am literally going to open this bag, and even if the chicken juices, if you will, fall into the pot, I do not worry about it because the boiling water just cooks the, if you will, the blood. Don't get, people get squeamish about that word. But then I can just take it right out of the bag, and I don't have to worry about what's touching it and what's not. I get very concerned about that, as well, you know. So I'm just going to take this, and I am going to take this whole chicken and right into the bag. The one thing I worry about is to make sure that there's no giblets inside. These generally do not have giblets in them. Ouch, that water's harder than it seems. But every once in a while, you might find a bag. Let's see here. Let's see how we did. Okay, nothing in there, and nothing in here. Okay? So, generally, I used to use 3 chickens. But the truth of the matter is that what makes the richest, yes, it's like the size of that pot, yes, and Susan says good afternoon, and good afternoon to you as well. So, I used to use 3 whole chickens. So what I learned from making this over and over and over again is that what really makes the richest soup is the dark meat. The white meat I save in order to serve it. So I always serve it with the white meat, but I always make it with the dark meat. So instead of 3 whole chickens, I use 2 whole chickens. I will take the breasts off these 2 chickens and about an hour and a half into its cooking. And then what I'm going to do is I take 3 pounds of thighs, skin on, bone on, and I put that in instead of the third chicken. I put in this. So let me show you what I'm going to do with it. You might find this surprising. I told you that I had, sorry about that. No worries, Susie, we're all late from time to time, and everybody just comes when they can, stays as long as they can, and then leave when they need to. So thank you for that. So what I'm going to do is the best thing to do when you, now this is a cutting board that's on top that I've lined with aluminum foil because I don't want any of the chicken juices to get onto a board that contains it all. Hey Cynthia, hello from California. Susie Foreman is here, so you can say hi to her. And I'm going to take these thighs and I'm going to lay them skin down, bone up. Here we go. This is going to surprise you because the best way to turn this into chicken bone broth with the chicken is literally to break the bones so that the bone marrow comes right out of the chicken. So I've got tin foil on the board, a dish towel that I'm going to put immediately in the laundry when I'm done. Then I've got parchment on top of that. And now I'm going to take this, cover this like this, and I'm going to, I know you're probably freaking out here. Let's see, Frank says, when the hammer, let's see, what's a hammer for? I hope you're not going to beat the chicken. I am going to beat the chicken. I'm going to crack the bone. Sorry. I can't see, so I'm going to just, there we go. So you can see that I have cracked the bones of this chicken. And what that does is it allows the bone marrow, got a feel for the bone right here. I used to have the butcher do this for me, but honestly, it drives me crazy sitting there waiting for them. Oh, that's a kitchen tool. Yeah, it's a kitchen tool, it's a garden tool, it's I don't know, like, I love a hammer, I'm telling you. I will tell you that I would rather do this, oh, Biggie can't stand the noise. I would rather do this myself than stand in line and have the butcher crack those bones for me, honestly. So, we'll peel this back. You gotta love this, right? And now these are ready to go right in. I mean, the bones are all nice and cracked. The bone marrow is gonna get out. There's more bone marrow in the dark meat than in the light. So we're gonna open up the next bag. There we go. You can do this with the thighs, you can do it with drumsticks, you can do it, but there's more meat on the thighs, and the drumsticks are just kind of a pain to work with. So these are nice and dry. I like this brand of chicken. Also, I can feel that it's been frozen, so that's okay. All right, so here we go. Cover this up. I've got 3 packages of these so that I have about 5 pounds. Hey, Mark Goldberg. Hope you're doing well. So nice to see you here. Feeling around for that bone. Can't find it. Let's see where it is. There it is. Open this up. Okay, ready? Oop. There's another one. So I'll tell you all the nutrients. This is why you really want to make sure you're using an organic chicken, because all the nutrients are contained within the bone marrow of these bones. And you really want to make sure that along with the organic, I want to get my thumb. There we go. Was this meant for something other than the kitchen? I don't know. Somebody tell me. Okay, so these look amazing. I mean, they're so nice and cracked. We're going to just put them right in. This use a little, no, this is nice and cracked. Okay, into the pot they go. You can see that on the back of this towel, there's a little bit of the blood. Okay, one more package right here. And what I love about this, you know what I love about it is that I feel like I'm connecting to the food. I really feel like, you know, we have to have food integrity, and I really believe that I talked about this, I've been looking at old videos of things that we did last year as we upload to YouTube, because I don't want to lose my content. I mean, when Facebook went down a few weeks ago, I'm like, oh my gosh, everything I've done for the last year is contained in Facebook, and if they go down or go bankrupt or change, and they are changing to something called Meta, so I am very concerned about all my content. But nonetheless, I've been looking at old videos, and I was talking about food integrity. I was talking about us really making sure that we eat what we know makes us feel good, and that we work hard to understand, hey Arlene, what doesn't, so that we stay away from that. So I am cracking, those of you who are just joining me, I had a hammer in my hand, so look out. And I am cracking the bones on these chicken thighs in order that the bone marrow will be easily sucked out during the cooking process, because it is the bone marrow that makes really great bone broth. There's Biggie. Biggie's looking at me like, Mom, what are you doing? So Tony says, left-hand lady beating chicken. No, I'm not left-handed. I am right-handed, and I need to change this around. No, it just didn't work. I'm sorry about that. Oh, gosh. Now I can't get it back. Well, I'm sorry about that, Facebook, once again. No, I'm actually right-handed. It's just that this is reversed, and I usually can make it go back, but I can't. But I'm right-handed. See, Nanny Bubby is going the wrong way, so it's reversed. Anyway, Facebook, I used to be able to change the effects before we hit the air, but now I can only do it after we hit the air. And once I say it every week now, almost every day. Okay, there we go. Well, okay, I think that's it, yes. Okay, that's it for the hammer, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that display. All right, into the pot we go. I'm going to take this parchment paper into the garbage, and I'm going to fold up these dish towels, and I'm going to put them immediately into the washing machine. Well, not right now, but I just moved them out of the kitchen. And I'm going to take this that is covered with the foil, with my old cutting board, and I'm going to get rid of it. Here we go. So nothing is touched. None of the chicken juices have touched it. And we are back in the kitchen and ready to discuss the vegetables. So here we go. Okay, so let's start first with the onions. 1, 2, 3 onions, and almost a full head of garlic. I used some garlic last night. The words on your apron and sign on stove are backwards. I know that. That's the problem. So hold on. Let me see if I can get it. Nope, I cannot get it, guys. It's just not coming up. It just doesn't do it. I'm really sorry. I can't account for how Facebook changes things. So, okay, I'm going to take these onions, and I'm going to cut them in quarters. So just so you know, every day for the last year before I went on the air, I would always flip the screen in a way in which you could see me, so that Nanny Bubby always read the correct way. Then suddenly Facebook changed the way that they were doing things, and the only way that I could get the flip is after I went on the air. Now, once I'm on the air, I can't even get it, so it's very frustrating. Well, it's not really frustrating, it's just annoying. Anyway, I'm making chicken soup, Susie. Okay, so I used 3 whole onions, and I cut them in quarters. I'm going to put these in first. Go. I leave the skins on, because the skins actually help the color of the soup. So in they go. I'm going to show you how big this gets. I may even have to take some water out as I start adding these vegetables. Okay, one more time. There we go. Let's see. I'm going to take that off and see. Yeah, I think I'm happy with taking that off. Take that off. Okay. Skin on. Then we're going to take the garlic. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take the garlic. And I'm going to slice the garlic. This is not feeling stable here. Let's see if you can see this. Yep, ready? Okay, I'm going to slice down halfway on this garlic so that, as you can see, the garlic is opened up. Skin and all, I'm going to take this and just put it right in. Now in the morning, I'm going to let this cook all night long. I'm going to put it on a low fire. Poor Tom's going to have to lift it off this thing for me. And it's going to cook all night long. And then in the morning, I will drain it. I'll let it cool for about an hour, but I've got to get it drained and out the door before the garbage man comes, and he usually comes around 7:15. So, all right. So, I always see that a recipe calls for parsnips in the chicken soup, but there's a couple things that I've learned to use. Number one, sometimes you cannot find parsnips because they're out of season, but you can find turnips, and I find that the turnips give it a really rich flavor, and I really like the turnips. My very favorite thing to put in soup is rutabaga, because when you slice open a rutabaga, similar to slicing open the turnip, the color of the rutabaga is almost the color of the outside of the turnip. It's really rich. It's caramel. It's like the color of this onion skin. And I love using the rutabagas because they really also color the soup. But in this case, there was no rutabagas, so I'm going to be using 1 turnip and 2 parsnips. And normally I can put the parsnips in whole, but they're kind of big, and the soup is kind of getting full, so in order to get these in without making, too much room, I'm just going to put them in like this. Now this is starting to get very full, so Mark says, try turning the phone around. I don't want to turn the phone around because then I can't read what you guys are all saying. So if the phone is turned around, then I can't see what you guys are writing. So I'm going to try this one more time. No, impossible. And yes, all I can do at this point when it comes to these effects is put that. How's that? I don't think you guys want to see that while I'm cooking. That's about all it's allowing me to do at this point. So anyway, there's that. Sorry about that. Okay. You think that the leaves of the rutabaga is poison? Well, I haven't died yet. And there were no leaves on this, so we're doing okay. All right. So, 1 more parsnip. These are big parsnips, very big parsnip. So, as you can see right now, whoops, this is starting, the parsnips actually, whoops, sorry about that, hammer got in the way. There you go. You can see that it's very, very, yes, it's a rhubarb, not a rutabaga. Okay, so as you can see, this is way too full. And if I add the celery now and the carrots, it's just going to go over the top, and Tom is not going to be able to lift this when it's this full. So what I'm going to do is just grab this measuring cup and literally just take out about 2 cups of water. And just bring this down a little bit. You never really know how far to go. And I'm going to keep going here because 4 cups, this is now 6 cups of liquid, and it's barely moved, so. Okay. Sometimes you just have to wing it. 6, this is 8 cups that we're taking out right now, so 4 cups is a quart, 8 cups is 2 quarts, which is a half gallon of water already. So, This is 10 cups. That. And there has to be room for this to boil, right? So, 10. Okay. There we go. Okay. Well, we'll work with that, and if I have to take some out, I will. So you should smell this. You can smell the parsnips. They're so fresh. They're all starting to cook. I'm going to just turn this up 1 more degree. And, okay. So we've got carrots. Just wondering if you can see. Yes, Arlene, it is a 22 quart. It is so big. It was my sister's. Or maybe she gave it to me, I don't know. I think we traded pots. I think I gave her my smaller one and she gave me the bigger one. And with the promise that I would make her chicken soup for the rest of her life. So there you go, which I love doing. Okay. So I don't know how many of you saw the posting that I did. Tom and I, you may have noticed, were honored on Saturday night. It was a lot. It was a beautiful evening. I will say that the nerves for me set in around Wednesday and Thursday. I just could not, by the time Thursday came, I just was a bit of a basket case, and I didn't mean to be. I wasn't nervous at all. It's just that the adrenaline was just pumping through my body, and when you have that much adrenaline that's going through your body, it is so hard to contain yourself. I mean, it was exhausting me, and I would try to meditate, I would try to do all kinds of things to calm myself down, and I honestly could not. I couldn't get it done. I couldn't breathe. It was really kind of a lot. It was a lot to deal with, and I was very surprised because I don't usually, listen, I've done this just about all my life, and I love it. I love being on camera. I love public speaking. It's just what I do. It's one of the gifts I was given, and I always like to use the gifts that I was given. But I think that it was just the fact that it was Tom and me together, and 4 generations of our family were going to be there. Our granddaughter got to speak. I have to say that on camera. Our little granddaughter got to speak. She came up on the stage with me, and it just was really amazing. It was just an amazing night. And of course, once I got there, I felt perfectly fine. It was just, I think, the anticipation. It was like on Thursday, I was like, wait a minute, are we not there yet? Can we not just get there already? It's just too much. But finally it arrived, and now it's 2 days gone. But it was a great evening, and thank you all so much for the wonderful comments that you put in the chat when I posted the video. We had such a good time. We all went over in a limo, and Liv had never, Dollface that is, had never ridden in a limo before, so she was really excited about that, and it was just really a great deal of fun. So thank you all so very much for all your well wishes, etc. Thank you. So here we go. Now we are going to take time right out of Nanny Bubby's garden. And I love my dress. It just was a long time finding, and truth be known, that dress was given to me by a girlfriend who I love and adore so much, who insisted that I wear the dress, because retail is just not caught up with what's going on right now. That they last year had so little call for dressy dresses, because obviously last year there were no galas, there were no nothing, and okay, this is Dill. And I just was shopping and shopping and shopping, and she finally just said, you have to wear this dress. And I said, I'm not going to wear your dress. And she made me wear the dress. The problem was she sent me the dress, and it was 2 sizes too big, and I had to take it in. And I said, Lindsay, I'm not going to take the dress in. It's not my dress, it's your dress. If I take it in, you'll never be able to wear it again. And she so graciously said, Marla, take the dress in, and wear the dress. And I really have to say that I'm really glad I did because for me, being draped in a cloth that had been purchased and worn already by somebody who I love and respect so much, the fact that she wanted me to wear that dress, I was so comfortable all night long because I could just, it was like having something on my body that was embracing me and comforting me. And I've never done that before. Like I've long been the person that always gives someone else something to wear, but never actually taken something from somebody else. And so it just was just heartwarming. It was a hug. It was like a warm hug. Yeah, isn't that so cool? So cool, right? Okay, so I saved the parsley and the dill for the next time that I make the soup, meaning everything in this pot is going to be thrown out. The carrots, the celery, the onions, the garlic. This is going to be strained into a broth. I'm going to take whole peppercorns, not pepper. Here's the reason why. The peppercorns literally will flavor this with the right amount of pepper. But when it comes to straining it, you cannot strain pepper out. But if you use the peppercorns, you can't. So that's why we use the peppercorns, because they're able to strain right out. So we're going to put in about, maybe about a handful. How's that? Right in. Maybe even 22 quarts. A little bit more. Okay? Now, here's the thing about chicken soup. It totally tastes like dirty dishwater. Never does it taste like dirty dishwater until you put the salt in it. So here's the kosher salt. Of course, always kosher salt. And we're going to put in 3 tablespoons, which are 6 teaspoons. No, 9 teaspoons. 1, 2, 3, and 3 more. 1, 2, 3. And then we will adjust the seasoning as the chicken itself starts to cook. So that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Let me grab a hammer and stir it. But I'm going to go for the spatula, so hold on just a minute. So I have a slotted spoon right here, and I'm just going to just submerge this. It's right to the top. Of course, the thing is that as this cooks all night long, it really evaporates, and that's the thing about it, is that it starts to evaporate. And so that's why I do feel this pot so full, is because sometimes as it evaporates and the next morning I'm trying to fill like 4 or 5 or 6, I mean, you would think with 22 quarts that I could be able to fill 22 quarts of the quart plastic containers for freezing, and honestly sometimes I'm lucky to get 5 or 6. So I'm really conscious of wanting there to be way far more. Of course the chickens are full, and make the water go up, but I really try to get as much into this pot as I can, so that there will be as much liquid as I can to fill those quarts with, and we'll see. We'll see. The great news is that it totally is in about, it's about 3:36 right now, so about 6:30, I could literally take out the broth. It'll be cooking for about 3 hours, maybe about 3.5 hours, because we're going to wait for it to come to a boil, which it's actually doing right now. Turn it up one more. And it will come to a boil, and I could literally make this for soup tonight, right? Because it'll already be cooking, which would be wonderful. Then I'm going to turn it to low on a very small burner on a low flame, and I'm going to cook it overnight for literally 12 hours or more from now. I'll turn it off at about 4 in the morning, and it's going to cook about 12 hours. About, the chicken stock, so if I dilute it, as I put it into the quart containers, it becomes chicken stock. If I keep it as it is, it's actually bone broth. And I love the idea of the bone broth because it's so rich and it's so nutritious. And of course, that's the reason why I hammered and cracked all the bones so that the bone marrow comes out. So that's it for today, everybody. I'm so happy that you joined me. We're back into our routine. And that's the chicken soup. Remember, if you want to book a cooking confidence coaching discovery call with me, it's a free call for 30 minutes just to see what the coaching program is all about. The link is in the notes. And thank you all for being here. I love you to pieces. Remember, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go out and spread love like butter. I'll show you the rest of the soup tomorrow. Bye, everybody.